In this video, I want to talk about religious trauma, because a traumatic event can be anything that causes a person to feel threatened emotionally or physically, to feel powerless, and or to affect their capacity to cope while overwhelmed. Traumatic events can vary greatly. They can include things like car accidents, natural disasters, physical or verbal abuse, but trauma can include physical and emotional pain as well as neglect. Leaving a strong religious identity and allegiance usually introduces some level of traumatic psychological shock. Latter-day Saints, among others, are taught that safety and happiness depend on obedience and loyalty to their church. And so, leaving Mormonism means the end of the life you once lived. The reality you once accepted is gone. This needs to be recognized as trauma, even though the intensity and the symptoms are going to be different for each individual person. Let's talk about some of those symptoms. Now, the intensity and the symptoms are going to differ for each person, but typically they might involve feeling threatened emotionally or physically, and perhaps feeling powerless. Anytime trauma occurs within relationships, the long-term effects include damage to your ability to trust, the creation of negative internalized messages such as being unlovable. And so think of some of the symptoms of trauma that can be applied to leaving a religious group. Anxiety or panic attacks, emotional numbness, guilt and shame, anger, insomnia, exhaustion, social withdrawal, avoidance of specific places and people, mood swings, feelings of not fitting in anywhere, feelings of grief and loss, trouble making sensible decisions, repetition of ineffective choices. All of these things can be signs of trauma. And then there's also physical effects as well. Your body responds to past trauma. Contemporary research has revealed that trauma produces actual physiological changes, including a recalibration of the brain's alarm system, an increase in stress hormone activity, and alterations in the system that filters relevant information from irrelevant. These changes explain why traumatized individuals become hypervigilant to threat at the expense of spontaneously engaging in their day-to-day lives. And these things also help us understand why traumatized people so often keep repeating the same problems and have so much trouble learning from their experience. We now know that their behaviors are not the result of moral failings or signs of lack of willpower or bad character, but in fact they're caused by actual changes in the brain produced by trauma. Now, what about in a faith crisis? What about trauma there? Well, the Personal Faith Crisis Report was created to evaluate this, and it identifies the stages of a faith crisis. People in the traumatized disbeliever stage of their faith crisis often hit rock bottom, and this stage can be alarming, it can be unsettling. Many people have labeled this stage in their faith crisis as the dark night of the soul. When situations arise with family, friends, and leaders, you might experience a fight or flight reaction, or you may respond with fawning or paralyzing behavior. These kinds of responses may be a result of trauma triggers, and this might be hard to identify when you're going through it, or it may feel too risky to open up about even when there is an encouraging space provided to walk through it. So if you struggle to implement logical and thoughtful options in your faith journey, even though you really want to, it may be because you are experiencing PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. If you are experiencing these kinds of phenomena, then you should consider seeing a counselor who can help you process the internal pressures, who can guide you through maybe some better communication with family members, and who can give you some tools for emotional regulation. Thanks for watching today.